Hello dear friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. In this video, we are going to have a discussion of James Mercer Langston Hughes' famous poem, Democracy. Langston Hughes was an American poet, activist, playwright, columnist, and assertive artist spokesperson in the voice of the colored people. He earned his bachelor's degree from Lincoln University and created a new genre in literary art form called jazz poetry. He's also renowned for initiating the Harlem Renaissance in New York. His narratives constantly refer to the life of working class blacks in America, often being described as a people's poet. He sought to throw light on the conditions of the colored people in USA. He stands tall as an impactful Afro-American artist who boldly took on the angst of the colored people and voiced them without sentiment, pathos, and glorification. Democracy, the poem by Langston Hughes, is a direct and powerful poem that asks the readers to assess their ideas about freedom and democracy. The poem was published in 1949 and is focused on the fight for equal rights under the law, including the ability to vote for African Americans. The poem explores the Black American experience at a time of extreme segregation, inequality, and state sponsored racism. The speaker argues that the United States cannot truly be a democracy until everyone has equal rights, and that equality and freedom are as necessary as food when it comes to survival. The speaker further suggests that democracy will only come about through a powerful social movement for change. Hughes included democracy in his collection One Way Ticket, which was illustrated by the American painter Jacob Lawrence. So, this is a brief introduction about the poem. Now, let's analyze the poem stanza wise. Stanza 1. The poet says, democracy will not come today, this year, nor ever through compromise and fear. In the first stanza of the poem Democracy, the speaker begins with a simple statement. Democracy is not going to be realized through compromise or through fear. The masses will not be silenced into compliance through persuasion. Freedom is not gained through incremental changes, but through a complete overhaul of the system that has sought to disenfranchise, disenfranchise, sought to disenfranchise black voters at every turn. Means to say, all the voters should be given an equal right to vote. Stanza 2. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and own the land. In the second stanza, the speaker states that he, as a black man in America, has just as much right to stand on his own 2 feet as anyone else. He should be able to own the land he lives on or works on and then be able to vote and act in his own interest. Stanza 3. I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I'm dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. The third stanza expresses the speaker's irritation and exhaustion with the arguments that put off equal rights for years and years. Some say that things should be allowed to take their own course, that eventually it will all work out. But the poet Langston does not feel the same way. He cannot live on the hopes of tomorrow. He uses a metaphor to describe that hope as food that he cannot access when he's starving. Stanza 4. Freedom is a strong seed planted in a great need. The fourth stanza of Democracy poem is a 4 lines long, and 2 of these lines are single words. By using another metaphor, the poet says that freedom is a strong seed that is planted in a great need. The black community was, and unfortunately still is, in need of protection that the groups take for granted in the United States and around the world. By using the seed as a metaphor for freedom, the speaker expresses that it will grow steadily, then flourish. Freedom will allow his community to blossom in strength and then benefit the larger American community and the world community. The last stanza, the poet says, I live here too. I want freedom just as you. The effective perfect end rhyme in the words to and you drive the point home that the speaker is just like you, the listener. He's just like the listener. He deserves to live here and have freedom just as you experience it. So let's summarize the poem. The poem opens with the speaker talking about democracy never coming through compromise and fear. The speaker has as much a right to own the land and stand on his own 2 feet, just like anybody else. He then goes on to talk about the folks who say that freedom will come tomorrow, just let it take its course. The speaker feels those people have got it wrong since he cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed and is planted in a great need. And since the speaker lives here, he deserves freedom just like anybody else. So we find few themes in this poem, Democracy. Throughout the poem Democracy, Langston Hughes explores the themes of equal rights, freedom, and change. So we find here three important themes: equal rights, freedom, and change. The poet is advocating for all these three important themes while at the same time asking the reader to consider why he has to work for them at all. Equal rights for all should mean equal rights for all. He is speaking for any minority whose rights under the law have been stomped out or suppressed all over the world, but specifically in America. So, this is how the poem Democracy explores the themes of equal rights, freedom, and change. Thank you so much for listening. Dear friends, thank you so much for watching this video. You can reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Please do subscribe the channel, click on the like button for more videos on literature, workbook, pronunciation, grammar, communication skills, presentation skills, interview skills. Stay in tune with Mukesh English. Thank you once again.